anything you want with that brand new style. Watch 'em all get wild.
To all those of you joining us online as well, lovely to have you with us. I'm sure you've enjoyed the race. I've heard stories of people who were planning to go for a run and never managed to leave home because they were just stuck in front of the incredible coverage of the racing that these athletes gave us. And some people had been for a run or been for a ride and never got out of their bibs or their running clothes because they just didn't want to leave their screens for a second, and I don't blame them. Your VinFast Ironman World Champion, Nice, France, Sam Laidlow. Congratulations. We have the pleasure of chatting to the athletes now. We'll also be keeping an eye on the YouTube feed to see any of the questions that you pose. In fifth position today, Chevalier for France. Fourth position, representing the United States, Rudy Von Berg. Third position, representing Denmark, Magnus Ditlev. Second place, representing Germany, Lange. And we're going to get back to you, but just one more time, your VinFast Ironman Men's World Champion for France, Sam Laidlow. Just letting that sink in a little bit. We're going to start with Lange Chevalier, representing France. Your time, 8:15:07. Congratulations. What a race, what a day. But I'd like to start with what it felt like being French, racing a world championship, an Ironman world championship in France.
Yeah, it was great to...
Is it on? Is it green? There we go.
Sorry, that's better. Yeah, it was great to race here in France. Loads of support. Yeah, it was crazy. Out on the roads, even on the, on the bike course, going through all the little villages. Yeah, and people knew my name and were shouting it out loud. So yeah, it was great. Great to be here, and we've got a French champion and 4 French guys in the top 10. So that's pretty spectacular and a good time for French triathlon.
It's an incredible weekend for France at the moment, if you consider the opening game of the Rugby World Cup as well. Just talk us through your race. It looked like it was going, it really went well.
Yeah, I guess I had a pretty good swim by my standards. I really focused on the swimming this summer because I knew it would be vital to be up there, out of the water. And then I was hoping for a bit better, a bit more on the bike. But in the end, it was still a pretty good ride. I was actually really surprised coming into T2 in 5th position. Seems to be, I did the same in Kona last year, but I didn't actually have that much of a buffer this time. I was running through transition and Patrick was coming in. I was like, oh, that is only 2 minutes. That's not enough for the marathon. But yeah, when Patrick eventually came alongside me on the run, I tried to go with him, and it was quite interesting seeing what that felt like for about 10 minutes, barely, something like that. Yeah, so very impressive, and yeah, I'm really happy actually. I had a great swim, a good bike in the end, and my fastest marathon under 2 hours 40. So can't complain.
Can we attribute that fast marathon to all the support?
Yeah, all the support. When I set off, it was so loud and got a bit quieter towards the airport, but still loads of support out there. Loads of support and I guess a good cooling strategy and a good pacing strategy somewhat. And my running has improved this summer, so it's good to have a fast marathon finally. Well, it's not fast now by today's standards, but it's faster.
Thank you very much. Representing France, a phenomenal 5th position, Lange Chevalier. Rudy Von Berg, representing the USA, but very much a home race for you. I know we've spoken about that before. Just talk us through your race.
Yeah, as you said, home race, and same as Leon said, felt the support on the course very much. I was treated like a French guy today, which definitely helped. But to go through my race plan, well, I definitely wanted to be in that front pack on the swim. And kind of my behind my in the back of my mind, I kind of wanted to follow Jan for the ride. He looked really strong this year in some of the races on the bike. So, but I also thought he would have a more conservative pacing strategy than maybe guys like Sam or Magnus. And so I thought that could be kind of a good strategy. But then pretty quickly I saw maybe he's not in his best day, and went around him, and at that point Clément and Sam were already ahead. They took 2 minutes really quickly, but then once I got going, restabilized the gap. Well, then Sam was still kind of pulling away, but Clément was coming back. And I was with Braden Curry and Magnus when he caught us on the long climb. And I wasn't sure if I could hold Magnus. I didn't want to, go threshold or above threshold for on an Ironman on the climb. But I was prepared to push up to a limit, and end up being okay. And it was great riding with Magnus. Braden dropped after a while, so it was just Magnus and me. Great to see that we caught Clément. So then I was in a podium position. Took the downhill pretty quick, got a bit of a gap on Magnus, but in T2 we were fairly close. And I knew on the run I had to do my best run to stay on the podium or, stay even in the top 5, because all the guys there were quite close behind, especially Patrick and Leon. And I did my best run. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for third, but no regrets for me. 2:41 marathon, it's my best to date, so yeah, pretty happy with it.
In a way, I mean, a year ago, you won on this course, the Ironman France-Nice, but this must have felt like a very, very different race for you.
Definitely, I said it in the press conference before the race, I'll have to go much quicker than in that race. I mean, on the bike, for example, last year I was alone the entire way. Someone passed me, but I didn't even stay with him, so I was literally alone the whole ride. So this was quite different, and in a world championship with the caliber of these athletes, you always takes the best out of you, and you also get there in kind of a slightly better shape. So,
Representing the USA, Rudy Von Berg, congratulations and thank you very much. Into our third position, we move to Magnus Ditlev, representing Denmark. Already somebody online, Ronin, is saying Tillykke Magnus. So congratulations to you. A third place, happy?
Yeah, super happy, especially with the way the race unfolded and how I managed to keep fighting towards the end. It was tough seeing Sam riding so fast, so it was super impressive and congratulations. So but as Rudy said, he basically gave an overview of the way we biked, and he kept me on the last part of the descent, and I had to, I could feel starting the run that I wasn't super fresh, so I knew it would be a struggle, and the heat also was coming to me, and I knew after 2 laps where I had to put down the pace a little bit that Patrick would probably catch me, and then it was between Rudy and I were running like 90 seconds between each other for the entire marathon, which was a grueling fight, but in the end I managed to stay on the podium, which I'm really happy and proud of.
Initially on those first 2 laps, you did start eating away at the lead of Sam.
Yeah, I was running like the marathon pace I did in Roth, and I could feel it wasn't as easy as it was back then, so I knew it would be, but I also wanted to see if I could go out and maybe do some damage to Sam mentally, or see if he cracked. Then I wanted to be as close as possible, but he stayed strong the entire marathon. Again, super impressive race.
Representing Denmark, a third in the VinFast Ironman World Championship. I mean, that's pretty special. It's a fairly small country.
Yeah, it was. We were a lot of Danes racing today, actually, and we have a super good culture of triathlon in Denmark. It's really starting to grow, and we have a lot of young athletes also coming up. So I think the future is also looking bright, and yeah, I'm super happy.
And happy you should be. Just a quick question for you, because you're always very quiet and gently spoken, but one of the questions we got on socials, which I'd actually like to ask you, is how are you going to celebrate tonight?
I think I have a lot of people that was out on the course today that I know coming from Denmark, where I live, and I think we will invite them all to dinner together. So I think that would be appropriate.
One more question. Julia Schwanner says, do you think you could have become world champion if it was a flatter bike course?
I think it was really a big uncertainty how the bike course would play to my strength or not, and I think in the end probably I'm probably a little bit too heavy for this bike course. Obviously I did a fast time, but I really had to expend a lot of energy, and that's probably what I could feel also on the marathon. So I think maybe on a more flat course it should suit me a little bit better, but then you have the group dynamics and stuff like that, so that kind of plays in the other end.
Thank you very much. Representing Denmark, third position, Magnus Ditlev. Patrick, I've been told, because this room's full of the experts, including the gentleman who you went to apologize to when you came third in Kona, and you broke the run course record. Your 2:32:41 marathon, I'm told, is the fastest world championship run ever.
Yeah, thanks. Not fast enough to catch this young man there. So need to keep improving. No, I'm really happy with the run, especially. Yeah, had to keep my head down all day long. Was a little bit back in the swim, and yeah, had to work hard on the bike to keep in contention somehow. And when I started the run, I was thinking, okay, I'm 7th or 8th, and that was my best ever off the bike position in a world championship, and that kept me motivated. And so I started off in a good pace, settled into a good rhythm, and the atmosphere on the Promenade des Anglais was just mind-blowing, amazing. So really enjoyed that first 3 laps, and struggled a little bit on the 4th lap. And yeah, super happy with my second position here, and yeah, to have a full medal set now at home.
Indeed. But if we look at when you started on that Hoka marathon, it was about a 12-minute deficit, plus minus 12 minutes from you to Sam, and quite a few people in front of that. You could just choose a color, of race suit and just hunt them down. Does that motivate you, or do you just get in the zone?
No, I'm pretty much in the zone. Obviously, chasing down people is always really motivating and keeps your mind a little bit distracted. Right from the beginning, I thought 12 minutes is probably too much. So, yeah, I was sure I was still a positive, and tried everything I had in my tank today. So I'm super happy for Sam that he executed this race today on the day where it counts the most. I think he had a rough season so far, and yeah, mate, you were fit on the day where it really counts. So that's simply amazing, and seeing him pull off a bike ride like that, also on a canyon bike, yeah, makes me. Yeah, is proof that it's not on the bike for me.
Thank you very much. Germany's Patrick Lange, second place. Congratulations. Looking at the splits, 47.50 in the Mediterranean on that Roka swim, a 4:31.28, full gas on that bike, and a 2:41.46 on the Hoka marathon. Sam Laidlow, I've been trying so hard not to say this, but you've laid quite low this year, but my goodness, what an explosion down that finish line of emotions when it finally just punched you in the face that you were the Ironman world champion?
Yeah, it's still not quite settled in yet, but yeah, I mean, I just had an amazing day, and as everybody said, the crowds were. I felt like I only had to run 35k today. You know, 'cause every time I got to that last k to turn around, it was just crazy, and kind of wish I could tell them that to not encourage Patrick. No, yeah, I took the swim out. Well, sorry, I let everybody go out really hard on the swim, and then suddenly the pace really slowed, so I hit the front for maybe close to 2k. I didn't want those two people. I didn't want with me in the pack, and these two sat next to me now, because one of them pretty much always runs 2:32 or faster now, and the other's got about 500 watts in his back pocket. Yeah, no, I think the rocky season I've had, kind of, in a way, everything led to this. I made some mistakes in Lanzarote, and I was really happy. Although I wasn't fit going into Roth, I was really happy to have ridden with Magnus and to witness that performance, because I think we set the bar so high, or Magnus definitely set the bar. I don't think people realise quite how insane it was. I mean, I don't know, Patrick rode really strong, right? He put minutes into everybody else, and yet we were still like 12 minutes up the road, and yeah, it just really opened my eyes to what was the pinnacle of the sport. And the final thing was I went to Singapore 3 weeks ago and unfortunately got COVID. But in hindsight, I think it made me rest and maybe come into this race a little fresher. I think it's the kind of race where if you push too much for too long, you can get a good performance, but you haven't quite got that last hour of racing in you.
Quite a few firsts. The youngest man to win an Ironman World Championship. So congratulations on that. And the first French athlete to win a World Championship. And your first Ironman win is to become Ironman World Champion.
It's funny because it's all the stuff we kind of joked about with my families. We always said, my first win would be the world champs, and then it was also my dream to be the youngest ever world champ, and I kind of felt like it was slipping away, you know. And I said on the press conference before the race that whatever happens, it's just part of the journey, you know. And I was pretty sure that I could win it one day. I just, whether it happened today or not, yeah. But for sure, I'm super grateful to have had this opportunity here in Nice. I think it's great for French sport. I mean, historically we haven't done so well in iron distance, and this is new era, and I hope it really motivates a generation to come and to go straight to long course. Basically, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, now the short course guys can't compete with us, eh?
Joshua Hunt says, Sam Laidlow, what helps you most when it gets very difficult out there during the race?
Today was definitely the crowds and the 12-minute lead on Patrick helps. But no, to be honest, like right until towards the end, like everybody thought I'd won, and like in my head, I still thought, oh, I can just start running at 3:20 and that's it. I'm gone, you know. So honestly, right into 500 meters, I didn't know if I'd won or not. You know, I was still really pushing and really suffering, because I mean that's the beauty of the sport. It's the beauty of the sport. Anything can happen. I mean, I could cramp with 500 meters to go, or I saw this post from, what was it, Challenge Almere or something, where the guy was struggling to get to the finish line, and I was worried about that during the race. Yeah, so yeah, anything can happen.
Another question that came on the socials for you. Will you be adding any new ink and M dot perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. There was this comment that I saw, I think it was in Singapore, somebody saying that I'm a one-hit wonder because I just came second in Kona, haven't done anything since, so I might just get tattooed one-hit wonder for the fun of it.
Have you yet managed to absorb the incredible crowds up and down the run and the promenade, and the insanity on that finish line when you came down flying the French flag?
Yeah, it was, as I said, it was crazy, and that last finish, like literally my eardrums were so sore. Yeah, I mean, it carried me, gave me wings today.
That is your VinFast Ironman World Champion, Sam Laidlow, congratulations. What an incredible day on the Côte d'Azur, Nice. We have a lot of our assembled members of the media here. We're getting a couple of questions still coming through on social media, but I'd like to open up the floor to the members of the media. Please, if you can state your name and affiliation. I see Bob Babbitt's got his hand up first. We're going to bring the microphone through to you, Bob.
Bob Babbitt, Breakfast with Bob. Sam, last year you had a perfect race. You ran a 2:44, you had a lead off the bike, and Gustav had to run a 2:36 to beat you by 2 minutes. What did you take away from that? You could have been bummed, or you could use that as fuel for this year. How did you take that?
I think what I took away is that is how I went into that race, and that's what I tried to replicate. I mean, I'm just a kid enjoying it, and this is what I've dreamt of, and at the end of the day, we're all training like 30 hours a week, all super talented, all doing pretty much the same thing, you know. So it comes down to something else, and I managed to have that something else in Kona, you know, really race on emotion. And today, again, I was lucky enough to have my friends, family, and everybody, the French crowds, and I just had a great day. I had really good legs on the bike. That was kind of the only unknown that I didn't really know. But yeah, my legs just kept giving.
We have some more questions. Thank you.
Sam, I feel like 2022 after Kona, people were saying that you're a one-hit wonder. And then I feel like this year, everyone's sort of been enjoying you not having success and sort of saying like, see, we were right. Did you feel that? If you did feel that, did you use it as motivation, and does it make today sweeter?
I definitely used it as motivation. There was a few training rides where I was definitely angry. I think, I don't know why, and I don't know if it's every athlete, but I have a chip on my shoulder, and I don't know where it comes from, but you want to prove a point, you know. I think we have our beliefs of what we can achieve. And yeah, of course. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know it's easy to say, actually. It's easy to say I don't really care what other people think. But the truth is, I do care what people think when I like the people, you know. So I only really care if it's like my family or friends.
Bob would like to ask another question, I think.
Patrick, before the race, you felt that this actually was a better course for you than Kona, even though you won there twice, because you felt that really the nature of the Kona course was something just people would put their head down, just go. Here, you're climbing, and the fact that you're a really, really good climber would come through. What are your thoughts now after actually racing the course?
Didn't really thought about that after the race. I think, I mean, the bike performance of especially these two guys have shown that power is definitely more important than weight. So yeah, I think, you know, I've won in Kona twice, so I'm still preferring Kona over Nice. Of course, we had a great experience here, and we all love to come back in 2025 then, and it was a great atmosphere, so really loving to come back. But yeah, as I said, if I look back, I honestly didn't see any numbers yet, and have to calculate. Have to look into that. But again, I was in the best position starting the run. So yeah, we will see next year.
Yeah, Brad Williams with Slow Twitch for Sam. Did you intend to lead from the front all day, Sam? And was that in the plan, or did it just kind of happen? And was that surprising to you?
I intended to make the swim hard originally from the gun, but when I saw everybody budging for the first line, I was like, I'll just wait. And then I kind of wanted to make the first 30 minutes hard of the bike. But again, I thought it would be much harder because I mean, much harder than Kona. I didn't think this time people would just let me ride away, but actually it wasn't me who made the break, really. It was Clement. I was going up that first steep climb at 400, 450, and he just came flying by, and I was like, well, I may burn a match here, but this could be the move. And yeah, I also knew that he knew the roads very well. And yeah, we definitely worked well together, I would say, for them next 30K.
Great, congrats on a great race. And
Thanks,
for
man.
Leon, Paul talked a bit about the atmosphere here and how great it is for a home race for you. How do you relate that atmosphere to what it's like running down a Lee? We know that's a magical run there in Kona, but here you get that 4 times coming up and down the prom. Is it comparative, or do you, obviously as being a French athlete, prefer being here, and what are your thoughts?
I think it was probably busier today just by the nature of the location of the race. There's so many people based in Europe and passionate about triathlon here, and it's easy to access. Like as a lot of the other French athletes and probably the European athletes had, 10 members of my family and friends coming round, whereas they would never go out to Kona. Kona is usually more of the bubble of the athletes and maybe their closest relatives. So it's this felt broader, and I think if the sport wants to potentially broaden its horizons and get a bigger platform, this these changing locations where we get more than just the community is maybe a way of showcasing our sport to the world.
Kevin McKinnon with Triathlon Magazine. Just to follow up on that, I wonder if you guys can comment on, like Nice, the crowds were crazy here, but more of the crowds are tourists than Ironman folks. Can you sort of talk about that atmosphere and if how you felt? I think you've all raced in Kona. How that feels different to Kona?
Louder, maybe more consistently louder. Yeah.
I mean, Kona's a very lonely course, really. Like Kona, but that's part of its beauty, I guess. You're out there on your own, and given the fact that I'm normally trying to not get caught up on the run, I tend to prefer only seeing Patrick twice in Kona than 8 times here.
Getting a couple more questions on socials.
Actually, I don't think there were so many tourists here. Just from my personal bubble, like my dad was here, my sister, he brought a friend, and my sister brought a friend. So there were so many people here for the race. So I don't agree on that there were just tourists walking around on the Promenade des Anglais and saying, "Oh, wow, here's something." No, I don't agree on that. So I really think this race attracted so many people from around the world to come here and witness history. So that was great.
Sam, another question for you. We sat in this room a few days ago, probably with the fieriest pro briefing that I've been a part of. When you're out on course today, did the centre line rule end up being an issue at all, or was the hour that we spent in here sort of, nothing really came of it out on course?
It's actually flipping dangerous to try and go downhill and stay only on one side of the road. You have to slam your brakes on and then hope you don't come out too far. But that's how it is. And I think there was twice maybe where I personally came out of the corner a little bit too wide, I don't know if there's any footage or not, but yeah, and then that moment where I almost crashed at the end also, but that's fine, I was on the right side of the road. I don't know, we just dealt with it, right? We just dealt with the situation, right? I think what's difficult for us as athletes is generally when the rule is slightly unclear, like whether we'd rather just be told if you cross it we get a penalty, then you may get a penalty, you may get this, you may get that. But anyway, the race is done now.
And one more question. I'm sat here next to your dad and coach Richard Laidlow. You guys have got it right twice in 2 years, on the big day at Kona last year and then in Nice this week. particularly on the bike. What is it that you guys do that no one else is doing to make you so strong on the bike on the day when it counts?
Enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, clearly it works well because my training partner came 6th today, even though he was like 6 minutes down off the swim. But yeah, this year we've had, this winter especially, had some great training with Arthur, and yeah, and I guess I showed snippets of that with 2 wins over the half distance. But yeah, at the end of the day, what I really love is riding my bike for a long time and hard, and that's part of Ironman. Luckily, the biggest part.
Patrick, there was a question for you on socials, and the person, Musty Sally, saying, question for Patrick, I believe you can win it again. And the question is, what do you think you need to do to win again?
Yeah, I believe so too, to be honest. I think I have proven today that I'm still in the mix with the young guys up front here. Pardon? Yeah, last man standing.
You're the only one who's getting faster and faster and faster.
So yeah, that's actually what I think too. Like I took the last 3 years to develop in a really good way. I think I improved my bike a big time, and it's still not enough, obviously. So that's maybe the weak spot that I still have to work on. There's no doubt about that. But I'm pretty sure, on a big day like that, everything has to fall into place. So there's obviously a little bit of luck, a little bit of this and that. So if the situation and circumstances are right, I'm pretty sure I can win it again.
You've just made another one of your followers very happy to see that. We have had another question from Peshwang Singh saying, could I ask all of you, and you can choose who wishes to answer the question. Next year, the professional age group women come to Nice to race the World Championship. What is your advice for them?
Advice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's good. Definitely check out the course for the downhills, get a feel for it. As we said, very technical, and yeah, just get a feel for it and see kind of what kind of equipment you want. And also, if you kind of compare it to Kona, it's a little cooler, but not that much. On the promenade, it's pretty hot and humid. So just be prepared for those conditions as well.
And you would know almost best, Rudy. Thank you. Anybody else want to add to that? I'm sure there are a lot of people who have qualified or planning to qualify for next year. Would love to hear your advice.
I think, yeah. Lose some weight. No. That's a very bad advice. But it's
sorry, just for a bit of
equipment, obviously.
A bit of context. You know, they've been chirping Magnus. So he's too heavy to do well here, but he's third. So he's joking about losing the weight. But yeah, anyway.
No, just I think as Rudy said, I came here 3 weeks before the race to check everything out. Lived in a small village in the mountains, very close to the bike course, so I could, ride every day on the course, see the downhills, know the uphills, and every time I did the ride on the course, I learned something new until the last day. So I think really that's my main advice.
There's another question that's actually for you, Magnus. It's from Rick Aguirre. And I know in the press conference saying you've got some tricks up your sleeve. And then we found out that one of those tricks was the dropper post on your TT bike. And his question is, did that work for you?
I think it worked pretty well. I was riding well downhill for the first few downhills and also for the first part of the long downhill. And then Rudy kept me on the later part of the long downhill. So I think... it obviously works. Otherwise, I wouldn't ride with it. And we did a lot of testing, trying out with or without, comparing times and everything. And it's not like massive, but on the downhills it works for me, as I'm a very tall guy. My seat post is very high up in the air, which can make the handling quite difficult on descents on a TT bike.
Any more questions from the floor?
I'm not sure about that.
Minus 71. It's like, must be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
No, gentlemen. Tim's got a question for us.
Tim Hemming, 220 Triathlon. Leon, just a quick question to you. In the pre-race press conference, you wore a T-shirt that said "drugs are bad," and I was just curious as to, your specific choice of wearing it for that press conference on that day, and whether there was anything behind that. And then just more generally, do you feel that it's still an issue in the sport at all?
I was coming back from St. George last year, the Ironman World Champs, and we had a stopover in Las Vegas, and I was just walking around on the strip and found this T-shirt in whatever store it was, like $7, and I thought, oh, that's quite funny, and apparently it's like from a TV program to put kids off drugs. And I've wanted to wear it to a press conference for a while, but this was a pretty big press conference, and to be honest, I don't do many press conferences, and I thought it'd be quite funny. But yeah, obviously this year we've had one big doping case in triathlon, and unfortunately, like, maybe I was a bit naive, but like I always thought, the sport was generally pretty clean because, I've in the short time that I've been doing long distance triathlon, I've somehow managed to get to the not the top, but pretty close. So it just shows that it is definitely realistic to, the performance that we do see, and it's a shame that people think that they need to take shortcuts to win races. And I got a lot of positive feedback from wearing that T-shirt, and if it just shows people that as athletes we don't really want drugs in the sport, then hopefully that's a good thing.
Sorry, I have one more. Brad Williams again from Slow Twitch. When did you realize the win was out of reach? And what did Jan say when he ran by you out there on the course?
Straight from the beginning, I knew it will be really, really hard to catch Sam. 12 minutes is a big deficit. I know this guy can run, and so I knew it's going to be a long, long way. And Jan cheered me up. It was really cool to see him running past me and shouting, "Get the podium!" in the first lap. So he straight away knew what will be possible. And it's actually great to have the big man supporting you, and didn't have that so often over the last few years. Now it was really, really cool, and can't wait to sit down and have some beers with him tonight.
On the topic of Jan Frodeno, he was asked if he'd like to come and join in the press conference and address the media, or do it at the finish line. He chose to do it at the finish line, right there with all the media, on the spot, with his family and with all the fans. And it took him quite a while to get away because lots of selfies, lots of autographs, lots of interviews. So Jan Frodeno did all those interviews on the finish line. There was one more question, and I've got the answer to that question. The question was, what will they do to celebrate tonight? And I know that these champions will probably come back to the finish line and be there to welcome the last of our age group amateurs from around about midnight onwards, and celebrate with them, because there's always that wonderful mutual respect between the pinnacle, the best of the best, as well as the age groupers, because we are one beautiful big family. Congratulations to these 5 incredible men. Congratulations, Sam Laidlow. Thank you, everybody at home. Thank you for all your questions. Keep watching. Watch the finish line camera. If you're anywhere near France, come to the Promenade des Anglais now. It's an incredible atmosphere out there. This has been the VinFast Ironman World Championship Professional Men's Press Conference. We're going to get a group photograph of these 5 men. Otherwise, we'll see you on the finish line for the rest of our athletes. Thank you very much.